Hello everyone, my name is Heeroh and I am joined by Ajoten and we are back for episode 3 of the Dragon Radar podcast. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. Doing very good. Yourself?
I'm also doing good. We have a lot to go through following the back of the second episode, and I guess we'll just jump straight in. Let's not waste any time. Let's go straight in with Roshi's rant.
This is Roshi's Rant.
So this is Roshi's Rant, the segment where we discuss a particular topic regarding Dragon Ball. Of course, it is a Dragon Ball podcast after all. And this week's rant, this week's topic is: should the Z Fighters teach humans how to use ki? What do you think?
My first thought would be no.
Ooh.
I think it's literally giving a child a gun and hoping for the best.
Well, that is America, so
Yeah.
your point.
Yeah, like if you look at Videl, like Gohan trained Videl, but Videl was a trained crime fighter. She'd proven herself that she doesn't mishandle power that she has to a degree. And I think basically, if you just train anybody you like, you don't know what the person's going to do with that power once they become powerful. They may be quite introverts and everything when they're just a standard person, but if you make someone incredibly powerful, they can abuse that power quite easily. And once you start them on that path and they understand how to wield ki, there's nothing really stopping them from developing that as far as they can go. And I would say that's very dangerous.
To an extent, I guess. Because if you think about it, even in the show, how many humans is there that know ki? There's Krillin, Yamcha, Tien, Videl. Is that it? Roshi is Roshi.
There's not many, to say the least. The rest
Yeah.
are all hybrid Saiyans or Saiyans.
Exactly. And we've kind of established that humans are definitely weaker than Namekians and Saiyans. And as far as we know, they're going to be around for forever, pretty much. So even if a human does learn how to master ki and starts becoming a bit evil with it, they're just going to be stopped pretty easily. Do you not think?
I mean, that's but that's very much assumption. It's how someone masters the ki and how effective they can become with it, how easily they learn it, how attuned they become to it. If they basically are like someone that has this latent power, like Gohan, and they learn how to wield that, they could become a force to be reckoned with. It could be like a Broly situation where they got this latent power, but they don't know how to access it. And then once they're trained to access it, it could all kick off. I mean, you have to look at the current humans that do wield ki. They're all very pure-hearted at the minute. I know Yamcha was a bit of a miscreant back in the day, but obviously these days it's basically, yeah, they're all, and that's, if you were to look at that in like a real world situation almost, so many people are not like that. You would end up you could just end up with basically planet Earth could end up another planet Vegeta. And they could just end up the same, just militaristic, abusing their powers, becoming brutal because they can. You go down the imperialism route and all this, just they could take it anywhere they want.
They could, but this is where the Saiyans would come into it, I guess, because even though Goku and Vegeta and, well, everyone, I guess, is fighting to protect Earth most of the time whenever there's a new big bad, if the humans got out of control with it, I'm pretty sure they could step in and be the bad guys, to get them back under the control. Just be like, calm down, you're taking this a bit too far. Because in the show, the only time we see anyone being trained is in Super. Tien has his dojo, I guess, and he's training the monks in the dojo. So, how far is he going to go with that? Is he going to teach them the powers of ki? Probably. Is he going to teach them how to fly, how to do ki blasts, that type of thing? Because if that continues, then there is like this new line of humans who have these special powers. Because there isn't many on the show. But just imagine, they had how long? They had a year before the androids appeared back in Dragon Ball Z when Trunks first tells Goku about the androids. They've got a whole year to prepare. It's like, what if they spent that time teaching 1,000 or 10,000 humans how to use ki? Would they have just destroyed the androids so much easier? Would this have changed Dragon Ball like so much if humans just knew how to use ki because they were trained?
I think, I mean, you could put that back to the Saiyan saga, where it was like they knew Goku had a year to get back from Snake Way. So you could apply that logic to a lot of things. But I think a person would have to earn their place to do it. Like Videl, she's like Gohan didn't really want to do it; he just didn't really have a choice.
Yeah.
But Videl she'd obviously demonstrated that she's not someone to abuse power, and her heart was in the right place. And I think if you have people like that who've earned the right to learn, that's different. Teaching it en masse is more than likely just going to get more people killed, because like, look what happened to if you look at it from what the Saiyans did to the Z Warriors, Vegeta and Nappa did to the Z Warriors, they ruined them. Yeah,
it's true.
So you train all these people over a year. Do you think Vegeta wouldn't hesitate to just drop one energy blast on all of them and wipe out 50 people in one energy blast? If you're going to train these people, you need to like focus them and make one or two powerful, because it's better to have one or two powerful people who can survive these blasts and things like that than have loads of somewhat strong people who are just going to get killed by an energy blast. It's basically like sending loads of people in a bunker with a machine gun. It's like, yeah, you're going to try and overwhelm them, but is it really going to work?
I think maybe it could, though. Like, obviously, I think you're on the side of you can't just have random people learn ki, which I agree with. But if they kind of figured out a way to decide who they're going to teach, like if they selected police officers, for example, because they're like the good guys or whatever.
A minute.
It is. Or like if they decided to train monks, like Tiana's doing, that type of thing.
Yeah.
If they chose specific people, but like en masse, so there's like 100 or 1,000 humans who they train, and it's like they've selected these people because they think they're worthy to begin with, and they teach them not to abuse the power. These are people of good hearts and stuff, who are like-minded, who want to protect the world or whatever, or people who have proved themselves as being worthy future Earth protectors, I guess. They're kind of teaching the next generation of people to save the world or to deal with minor problems, I guess. There could be some sort of hierarchy to it where the main Z fighters are higher up and they deal with the higher level stuff, and these new human fighters come in to deal with low level stuff. Or they're basically kind of like Marvel superheroes, have them in each neighborhood just fighting crime and like being Saiyaman, I guess, as well, but around the world.
Friendly neighborhood Z Warrior.
Yeah, exactly. They could be.
Yeah, I think that would be the thing. They'd have to be handpicked. I don't think you could just train people. I think they'd have to have proven themselves in some capacity, whether or not that's through past deeds or something like that. But I suppose Z Warriors, they can sense good and bad ki, can't they?
Yes.
So there would be a way to tell to a degree. So I think that if it was handpicked and very specific, much like the Videl thing, like I know, like I've said, he didn't want to do it, but he did. if he genuinely thought Videl was evil or something like that, or didn't have a good heart, Gohan's smart. Gohan would not have trained her.
Yeah.
So I would definitely say that as long as, I mean, she was a massive crime fighter. Like, everyone knows who Videl was and everything like that. She's got a big helicopter. She's all very impressive, but
Yeah.
she's doing good deeds.
Uh,
And I think that's the sort of thing, like, because also people like Videl can recognize when they're not going to help. Like in the Majin Buu saga, she knew she was holding Gohan behind and everything like that, and so she pulled out. So I think, yeah, you need smart, dedicated, pure-hearted warriors who have been hand selected. And I think, yeah, okay, because humans aren't going to last forever. I mean, I know they argue that Master Roshi could technically be immortal with
Yeah.
his eating his fruit and everything. But yeah, they don't all have that. Like Krillin, Yamcha, and everything, they're not really doing that. So eventually they will get old and they will die. Saiyans have longer lifespans, but eventually, at some point, they're all going to die, unless they all go on the Dragon Balls, based on what we were talking about last
Last
episode.
time, yeah. Just live forever, keep getting younger, keep living longer. Yeah.
But yeah, there will need to be replacement world's protectors. So they don't really have a choice unless they're willing to just give up on the world when their time comes and hope for the best. But there definitely has to be very strict criteria.
Yeah.
In my eyes.
Because, like I said, Tien is kind of doing that with his dojo. He is teaching people. And they didn't really go into much detail about it. You know, there's just Tien and Chaozu up on a mountain somewhere teaching people, like, fights, how to fight, fighting styles, all that type of thing. Maybe he's teaching them how to use ki. It doesn't really show you too much. But I think he has the right idea. He knows what he's doing, and they don't go in depth. But that was just with, like, I don't know how many people were there. Maybe like 20 monks or whatever. I can't remember exactly how many was there. But if there was like 1,000, like I said, just think for a second how much Dragon Ball would have changed. Because if you argue that they're even half of the power level of Yamcha, who everyone is kind of in agreement that Yamcha is probably the weakest Earthling out of the Z Warriors. If every fighter was even just half of that level, but there's 1,000 of them, the Android Saga specifically would have been completely different. Because the Cell Juniors, you know, people like Yamcha and Tien and Krillin were putting up a fight against the Cell Juniors, and Tien for a little while was dealing with Cell himself pretty well. So imagine if there was another 1,000 fighters. Just, okay, let's all just rush together all at once, deal with it. 18, 17, 16, they would have been dead pretty quickly. And Cell himself would have been open for just Goku, Vegeta, and the main Z fighters to just take down pretty easily, I think. Cell would have had no chance at all.
Biggest problem with your theory, however, is they don't do more than one-on-one fights in Dragon Ball.
This is true. This is true.
Just useless.
Yeah, it's the same in any
one-on-one.
It's the same in any fighting film as well that you watch. It's like, okay, there's a group of bad guys. Okay, let's charge at them, but one at a time. Okay, it's true.
But no, if it was logical, then yeah, they could basically, a couple of them could jump on a Cell Junior each. Because that's what it is. Cell Juniors got the better of them in the end, but not immediately. They held off for a little bit, and if they were double the amount, then yeah, they could have helped each other. It's very difficult to fight 2v1. Never mind just on a power level, just the ability to fight. And I can't see that Cell Juniors being particularly skilled in martial arts. But
No,
that's just an
yeah, exactly. I guess they've got the DNA of everyone, similar to Cell, but you know, dealing with maybe 10 people at a time, I don't think they would stand much chance.
Yeah, but Tien completely locked up. Second form semi-perfect cell.
Yeah.
Totally locked him up. He couldn't do nothing.
Mm-hmm.
So let's say you had 5 Tiens all standing in a circle, literally just taking a turn to blast him into the ground.
Yeah.
Like, he wouldn't have passed out
It's
because
true.
he could have just took a breath while the other 4 are taking their turns. And so, yeah, I mean, I see where you come from in terms of how practical it is. It's just the fear of the abuse of power. It's like saying, like, if you know bad people are coming to burgle your house, should you give everybody a gun? It's like, is everyone responsible enough to use that gun safely? Or do some people say, look, I've got a gun?
We know from America specifically that no, people won't all be responsible. And yes, there will be people who try to abuse it or go wild with it or do bad things with it, which is expected. But also, the majority, I would like to hope, of people are good and they would be able to stop the bad guys from going too wild. Or
I think
if the humans can't, then the Saiyans 100% can stop them if needed.
just Goku going like Ultra Instinct against Terry from, you know.
Terry from down the road.
But yeah, no, like, I think if there was a like a vetting process, then yes. I would have liked for them, thinking about it more, for them to look more into the Tien dojo and to say more about it. It was quite an interesting idea, but they probably intentionally kept it quite vague so that they didn't want people to look into that much, and they could probably maybe use it later. Because I mean, they always do Tien dirty, really. Like, even that episode, like, he couldn't just be like, yeah, I'll train you. Like, he had to basically have his entire dojo ruined by that angry lass. It was dumb fella. But the actual dojo and everything about that was really interesting. So yeah, it would probably be nice to see a bit more of that. But yeah, in terms of actually whether or not they should, I think if a vetting process was there, then yes. I think they're better suited to vetting than just generic criteria because of their ability to read good and bad ki and everything like that. They'd be able to more assess a person's true intentions. Yeah, I think that would be the only way they could probably safely do it. And they probably would have to put 1 or 2 down. That sounds really dark when I say it like that, but but yeah, the payoff would probably be worth it.
Yeah.
And there does need to be a contingency for when Earth's warriors either die by some capacity, whether that's age or defeat in the fight. So yeah, I think it's a fine line to walk, but on whole, no. Specifically, yeah, probably.
Fair enough. I agree. And I guess if you're looking at the Boo saga as well, Boo would have still wiped them all out and everyone would have still died the same anyway. I don't think much would have changed there. But for Android Saga,
he'd just do what he did up on the Lookout. Literally, like, he just turned everybody within half a second into candy.
Yeah.
Like, everybody, as long as they're weaker than he is.
Yeah. But the Boo saga, I don't think would have changed too much. Android saga, definitely. Cell would have not been an issue at all. And since the Frieza saga is all on Namek, I guess that would have all been the same as well, unless they somehow managed to transport 100 or 1,000 humans to Namek.
That would be quite cool, just an army around them.
Yeah, I mean,
I suppose a Frieza can do it. Why can't we?
Yeah. Bulma could have been busy building spaceships.
Bulma could make them, it'd be fine. Didn't worry about it.
Yeah, would have been interesting. But then again, I guess all the Z Warriors didn't even go to Namek.
Actually, no. I've just realised, thinking of back, what Frieza literally did to the planet Vegeta. Wiped out an entire planet with one finger.
Yeah.
So, yeah, maybe not Frieza. But Cell, yeah, he was probably too arrogant. Like, the amount of times, like, if they'd got him in first form or semi-perfect,
they wouldn't have had a chance.
I don't think they would have had the power.
Yeah. Cell wouldn't have had a chance to absorb them because the humans would have taken out 16, 17, and 18 pretty easily if there was enough of them.
Yeah. Well, now it works if those androids are in pieces. Like, is it like Android
Damn, son.
13, where he absorbs them.
Is it like a vacuum?
Would Cell just have to go around eating up general little crumbs?
Yeah, potentially. Yeah. Interesting. I guess in a way,
I've never thought of that till
in
a
an,
second.
yeah, in an alternate universe, there is a load of humans with these key powers. Who knows? Like in the Tournament of Power, they say that they're not allowing the top two universes to compete. Maybe one of these universes has a planet full of humans who have mastered Ki and are ultra powerful. Like on a level above like Krillin and Tien and Master Roshi, like every human on the planet is this strong. Like that would be interesting. They haven't really explored
like
the other two universes.
Yeah, there's like a planet full of Jirens or something like that. Something crazy.
Yeah, because like we have Jiren as like the most powerful person in the show and in the manga, I guess. And who knows what these other two universes are like if they're too powerful to be in the tournament. It's quite crazy to think of. But they had to do it.
Laughable. Yeah, it was laughable. They need to leave room for bigger bads.
Yeah.
In those, so those universes are kind of the safety net.
Yeah.
The bigger bads were in those universes who were too strong. So there are two strong things in there, and Goku's going to want to fight them. So yeah, that's their safe area to protect future law.
Yeah, they had to do it. I understand. But as for humans, I guess you kind of agree, kind of don't. And
yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, I think if they did it, it would have changed a lot of the show. But overall, I don't think it's a bad idea. And I think Tien's doing the right thing by training people, and they should look into that a bit more.
Yeah, I'd say there's lots of prerequisites first.
Well, I think we've talked about this enough. So let's move on to the Hall of Fame.
And now it is time for the Hall of Fame.
And once again, we're here with the Hall of Fame, where me and Heeroh duke it out to see who's most deserving to enter this week's Hall of Fame. Last week we had Dragon Ball's best haircut.
Yes, we did.
And Heeroh, you went with long-haired Yamcha, whereas my choice was Super Saiyan Saiyaman Gohan once he's all powered up in the martial arts tournament. And you want to give us the results?
I do. It was a close one. It was pretty close. But the winner and entering the Hall of Fame with just 60% of the vote, very close, is Super Saiyan Saiyaman. I was... people
Victory.
don't have style. People don't have style.
Oh.
Just disagree with that.
You can't knock my boy Gohan. It's just not happening.
Yeah, as a character, love him. As a hairstyle, yeah, it's decent, but is it really better than Yamcha's long hair? I don't know.
Can I just point out, who do you have behind you on your picture?
It's true. I've got Goku and Gohan over there. There's a Vegeta one that's kind of cut off there, but yeah. I understand, kind of. But
a classic look. That's why it's just one of those looks.
Nah, Yamcha's long hair.
People have spoken. The people have spoken.
Yeah, it was close.
You can't fight it.
I won't forgive, and I won't forget. But, you know, Yamcha's coming in second place. He's not entering the Hall of Fame. Maybe one day. We'll need to think of a topic where I can somehow get him into the Hall of Fame. He will be in at some point.
Who's the saddest Dragon Ball character?
Who's the sad? Nope, because I won't be nominating him for that one. But anyway.
So that is 1-1 now?
It is 1-1.
So see who can get ahead this week. And this week is who is the worst villain from the films.
Yeah, so since you won, I guess you can go first. Who's your pick?
Right. So I've got two. You got to have a backup, as always, in case we agree. My original first choice is Android 15.
All right. Well, we don't have an agreement, so go for it. Why Android 15?
So this is from the Android 13 film. With the the hillbilly
Yeah. Trucker hat.
android which everybody loves.
Yeah.
But the villain part of it is Android 15, the little purple dude. Now, typically, I'm not one to step into identity politics and stuff like that, but this guy is clearly a racial trope
Yeah.
beyond what you couldn't believe.
Yeah.
I mean, he stepped into every racist category you ever could. I mean,
Oh,
it's like basically he's a tiny minstrel is what they've gone with when they've designed this character. It's so wrong.
yeah.
And even in the when I was looking it up to remind myself, because he was my first thought when you mentioned the category for this week, first thought to look into. And in the Funimation dub, they even give him like a gangster voice
Yeah.
as well. So literally they just went with it and they've just ran. And I just thought, you can't do that. I mean, and there's the little thing of his little hip flask. It's like, he's an android. Why does he have a hip flask?
Yeah, it's true. I don't know. You know what? Like, I'm gonna say it now. You're gonna win this week because I agree that he is the worst. Because when I was thinking about it, I was thinking like main movie villains. I wasn't thinking like side villains. So yeah, I agree already that he deserves to be the worst movie villain. But anyway, continue on. Keep going.
Yeah, but in terms of like, but even as a bad guy himself, just is, even if you take the racial side out of it, he's just a bad villain. Like there's no personality to him or anything like that. I think in one of the dubs he literally just says Goku's name once. Excuse me, or something like that. It's like there's no voice lines. There's nothing really to him. He looks ridiculous. The hip flask is just the dumbest thing for an android character I've ever seen. It's always bothered me. I don't understand it. Mm-hmm. The fact that when Vegeta blows his hat off, he has three tiny hairs or something like that. It's like, why does he have three tiny hairs? If you're going to give an android hair, don't make him balding. Don't give him a Homer Simpson hairstyle. The only cool thing about him, the only saving grace he has, is the way he dies. And that's when Vegeta does the charge through blast. When they charge at each other and his head drops off and then he explodes. It's literally the only, and that's literally the good thing about him is him dying.
Yeah. And it's deserved. He definitely deserves it as well.
Yeah. But yeah, it's like it's not something you just can't. I don't know. I mean, I know it's an old film, but it's not that old a film. Yeah, I couldn't not go in that direction. I had to. He just always stood out to me as a bad guy.
Yeah, that's fair enough. I agree, and he is worse than my pick. I already know that, and I think when we do the polls, people are going to agree with you because I also agree with it. But I've got to have mine in there anyway because I think some people might just think, yeah, this guy's pretty bad as a villain anyway. And I'm going to go with Lord Slug because...
Really?
Yeah, because I was thinking main movie villains, and you know, as far as Lord Slug goes, he is literally just Demon King Piccolo 2.0. He is a palette swap, and that is it. And I think it was lazy and boring, and he wasn't an interesting villain at all. He had the same motivations. He just wants to be strong, get immortality, and rule. And that's kind of it.
I remember scrolling through the villains, and yeah, actually, now you say it,
yeah, there's nothing special about him. There's nothing even like as the film goes, the film isn't really that special either. It's not really very good. And the only good thing that comes from Lord Slug is the fact it does show the giant Namekians again, which is cool. It's a cool transformation. You know, Piccolo doesn't do it too often, and we've seen it in Dragon Ball Super very briefly as well. But apart from that, you don't see too much. And you got to see it with Lord Slug, which is cool. But that is it. There is nothing else good about Lord Slug. He is a boring villain. He is just Demon King Piccolo. recolored.
No, I think when you say it, yeah, I think he doesn't say I want to be my prime. He says I want like eternal youth. I think he says.
Yeah, I think so.
And yeah, but it's the exact same principle. It's just worded slightly differently.
Yeah.
No, he is. Yeah, because I was looking through like the villains. Because when I was looking for my second choice. Because there's some bad villains in Dragon Ball.
There is.
The films are just notoriously bad. Like the films can be decent, but the bad guys in them can be awful. And like I read Slugs, and it was just I didn't even consider him because of how generic he is. So like I saw him, and I was just like, there's nothing special about him. Like he's so passable. Yeah. So no, I know what you mean. And when you make the comparison to Demon King Piccolo, not only is he generic, he's also a copycat.
Yeah.
So no, I can definitely see what you mean about being a bad villain, definitely.
Yeah, exactly. Like when I was looking through the list, like my backup, I guess I'll say, was Turles, because he is he is pretty bad as well. He is just kind of Goku, but bad, which I guess was the inspiration for Goku Black. But he wasn't very good. He ate the fruit to make him a bit stronger from the Tree of Might, and that was kind of it. You know, he was just Goku, and it was like at the time, I guess it was kind of cool, just because it's like, oh, what if Goku was a bad guy? What would he be like? And this was it. This is what we got to see, and yeah, kind of worked, kind of not. It was just a bit boring. They did it a lot better with Goku Black, admittedly.
Yeah.
I think they kind of thought, okay, let's try and revisit what Goku would be like if he was a bad guy. We tried it with Turles, and it was meh at best. Let's do it again, but better. And they did. But
why do they always give them weird accents as well? The Goku copies always get weird accents.
I don't know. I don't understand it. Yeah. But Slug was my pick just because even the movie overall was pretty bad. Like they kind of teased Super Saiyan again, but they didn't do it. It was complete filler. Well, I mean, I guess every Dragon Ball movie is filler for the most part, apart from the newer ones. But Slug is just Demon King Piccolo 2.0 recolored. Same motivations, same everything. Nothing fun about the character apart from the giant Namekian form again, but that's kind of it. Your choice, a lot better. I'll agree with you. I'll agree. It is. Yeah. You're going to win. I'll take the L now.
Well, my backup, just for the sake of having a backup, I actually nearly picked Tails as well because of his laziness. Like Goku Black, the more I think about it, is literally just Tails, but 10 times better. Yeah, they literally looked at Tails and said, this is what we did wrong. Let's do none of this.
Yeah.
And yeah, and they made Black, who's great. But my actual backup is the original Broly. Not new Broly, not Super Broly. Super Broly's great. I love the Super Broly film. I'm big fan. But literally any bad guy who you can basically justify his insanity revolves a lot around the fact that a baby next to him cried. Like Goku crying next to him was why he's one of the reasons he's so angry. Is the most ridiculous plot device I've ever heard in the history of plot devices. Like, it's insane. It's actually insane. Like, I know that they say like he's just generally insane and things like that, and it's like that's fair enough. Like, having an insane bad guy, it's not really new or anything like that. Like, if they just left it at the whole insane, but Paragus was controlling him, like that would have been okay because they were just trying to lock up his power. Yeah, that wouldn't have been the greatest, but it would have made sense. But then they chucked in that Goku, and it's like, why did you need to do that? You've totally took away any credibility from him.
Yeah.
Like he's being a little bitch about some baby crying next to him. It's like, it's so insane. You should have just left it alone. You went right to the edge and then you just jumped.
The only, I guess, redeeming factor of Broly is his base form, not when he's all powered up, is actually really cool. I actually really like base form Broly, the original Broly, not even the new Super one, like the original one. I thought it looked really cool.
Like the introvert thing.
Yeah, like he was all slim, he had cool clothing, he was unique with his hairstyle and everything as well. And I thought, oh, okay, how is this going to work? Because he was kind of like meek and shy and quiet, kind of similar to Kaba in a way, I guess.
Yeah.
Before he goes berserk, and it was like, it was interesting. He was an interesting character. And then when he goes berserk, and the reasons like you just said, because of baby crying and all this stuff with Goku, which doesn't make sense. Yeah, that's when they kind of make the character bad.
Yeah, I think the thing is like, because you even get like explanation and everything of him, like when Paragus is trying to put on his like mind controlling clothing or accessories, like you see the terror in him before he manages to get it on. Like he's trying to, he's scared of it. Like there's a really interesting character in the surface there that they could have done something with.
Yeah.
And then they literally take what could be a great character and they just ruin it, completely ruin it. I can't look at the character now in any way and take him seriously. And it's like, again, I always make the Team Fortress references because they always get it perfectly right. Is that he's so cool, but he's so dumb.
Yeah. And
it's literally because he is so cool. Like he's, when he does kick off, when he does go rage, and he just like he's saying like I'm God and I'm the devil and stuff like that. Like he's really, really cool. And then like his transformations, everything's great, but I just can't get over that because of that. It's just too much. It's ridiculous.
And let's just completely skip over Bio Broly. Let's just don't mention it. Don't bring it up. Let's not say any more on it. Let's just leave it at that.
That's pain. Yeah.
I don't know why they thought it was a good idea to bring Broly back for a third movie, but it was a bad idea.
Swamp Man Broly.
Yeah, pretty much that. Yeah, he looked like a Scooby-Doo villain. It wasn't a good look for him. It wasn't a good idea. It wasn't even that good of a film. I guess it gave something for Trunks and Goten to do, but even then, it just was a mistake. But anyway,
they tried.
They did try, and then they quickly realized, okay, we can't do any more Broly films. We have killed him now. It's done.
But then they did do another Broly film. And
they just had to start again. You know, they built up Broly one movie at a time, and then they were like, he's dead now. Let's just start again. It's too late.
Like, just let it cool off for a few years and then go again. And then it's like, it's just unreal, the fight scene and the new one. I just love the new one.
Yeah.
But that can be a topic for another day, I think.
It can. So I guess our actual picks for this Hall of Fame, I've went with Lord Slug as the worst movie villain. You've went with Android 15. And I already know who's going to win. But if you want to vote, we will have polls on both Twitter and Instagram. The links are down below. Just look at our socials, go follow them, go check it out and vote. And next episode, we will see who enters the Hall of Fame. But let's move on to Hot Take.
Hot Take.
Okay, so this is Hot Takes, the segment where I have scoured the internet to find a hot take that someone has written about Dragon Ball. Whether it's good, bad, ugly, disgusting, who knows. We're going to judge it. We're going to decide whether it's a good take, whether it's a bad take. And yeah, let's just jump into it. So, this person has wrote, Toppo should have been the main big bad guy of the Tournament of Power, not Jiren. He had more character, he grew over time, had interest and motivations, and the transformation to a god of destruction was the cherry on top. Whereas Jiren was simply just a strong fighter with little backstory or character. What do you think about that?
Ooh. I think I can maybe get behind that, you know?
Yeah.
Like if you think about the mini tournament before the Tournament of Power, yeah. Toppo's hidden in his cloak. You can't see him. He's this mysterious guy who's with the destroyer.
Yep.
With his destroyer. Like, why is he so important? Why is he? What if it was Jiren's the big bad? Well, the big powerful character. Should he not have been the ones with the destroyer?
Yeah.
Like, I know he's the captain, the Pride Troopers, but it would follow that continuity of this mysterious bad guy who steps up to Goku in the mini tournament and is like, "You are my problem. I am going to deal with you." And then later in the Tournament of Power, it's Toppo and Vegeta. Like,
Yeah.
Goku and Toppo don't really engage that much, considering how much Toppo threatened to destroy, promised to destroy him. He definitely had growth and everything like that. Turning into a destroyer, it's definitely an arc for him. I liked that. It was the only time that I saw Jiren basically turn and show any true emotion for the most part.
Yeah.
Because he called out Toppo.
Mhm.
Basically, he turned his back on everything that he believed, which was quite interesting from Jiren's part because he called him out. So
Yeah.
I'll give Jiren. Jiren is a terrible bad guy for the most part. He's got no personality, but I did like it when Jiren did that.
Mhm.
They didn't really talk a lot about that though. Like, Toppo didn't really, like, yeah, he kind of just went, "Nah, I didn't," but he did. Like, he didn't really engage in it a lot as much as I would have liked him to. No, I could get behind it, you know. And it is a damn cool form as well when he goes God of Destruction.
Yeah.
And he's obviously they've followed him. That he's obviously been their main focus throughout, like their universe, because they've made him the God of Destruction. They've set him up. If they thought he wasn't strong enough, they would have made Jiren do it.
Yeah.
Or at least tried to. They've obviously recognized that Toppo is their
Next
best
in line.
Yeah, their best option. I mean, they might have done it because they knew Jiren wouldn't, but at the same time, it was a damn cool form once he changed, and he was brutal as well.
He was.
He did what he did what a God Destruction needed to do. I think, yeah, the only thing is, like, he thought he'd fight for justice and destroy. So it does make sense that he did turn, but I mean, a lot of stories have went that way. Main one, Darth Vader, like one of the greatest stories of all time. He was supposed to be the great savior, and then he turned around and became Darth Vader. Like, it's a great story. It's never not a good story. It's a little bit of a cliche story, but
it works.
Never not good.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think I could get behind it. It's good. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I could as well. Like, I'm not a big fan of Jiren because I don't like big, muscular, strong characters with no actual character. Their character is just the fact that they're strong. I don't like that. And for the most part, throughout every I was going to say throughout every saga, there is a character like that. In the Saiyan saga, there's Nappa, and he was just a big, strong brute, but he wasn't the main guy. And it was Team 4-Star who made him an interesting character, because in the show, he wasn't interesting. He was just a big, strong brute who was like the muscle guy for Vegeta, and that was it. He wasn't around long, he died, that's it, done. In the Frieza saga, there's the Ginyu Force, and there's Recoome, who again is the big, strong brute of the team. You know, he's the biggest of the team, he's the most muscular, he is the strongest. And he does have more character than Nappa, but for the most part, he is just known as the strong one of the group, you know. That's his role, that's his job. He isn't he isn't the leader though. Captain Ginyu is. He's not even, I mean, Captain Ginyu even is like a minion to Frieza. So Recoome is down the list. He is not the main big bad. In the Boo saga, you can argue that Boo's separate forms, he has the big strong one as well, Super Boo. You know, where he is the tallest, he is the strongest. And again, that's not the final form. He isn't the main bad guy. You know, Kid Boo ends up being the main bad guy, not Super Boo. So again, the big strong one isn't the main threat. In the Tournament of Power, though, Jiren is when he shouldn't be. They've not done that every other time, so why are they doing it now when Toppo is right there? He has a good story, you know. He is the leader. He recruits the other Pride Troopers back when you see him on the planet, you know. He's wearing his suit. He's talking to the other guys in the team. He's looking cool. He is the main focus for like every time you see that universe. Toppo is, for the most part, the main focus until the fight. Then Jiren's the main focus. It's like, why though? Yes, Jiren's mysterious. He's sitting there, just cross-legged, doing nothing. I get it.
Yeah.
But Toppo was the main focus the whole time.
Yeah, it's like Totally Not Mark when he was covering it, when he did his review of the Super Tournament, and he's like, literally every time he went to Jiren, he's like, oh, Jiren's awake again, neat. But it's like nothing's actually happening. It's like these people, it's just showing that there's nothing. Like he's just asleep all the time, and it's like when he does wake up to do something, I think he doesn't he bat Kale away at some point when she starts kicking off.
Yeah.
And calm down. Yeah, and then he's like, okay, right.
He puts the shield up around them for a while as well.
And yeah, like he doesn't actually do anything. Like he's actually just sleeping or meditating. But it's like, nah, you're not doing anything. And all the while you've got Dispo, you've got Toppo, they're all doing things. And it's like, and yeah, he's literally Toppo. He's an impressive character because he literally do what he believes is anything for justice. He will sacrifice all of everything. He sacrifice all of his principles and everything like that, as long as he feels it's what's right and just. So yeah, there's development and everything like that. You see an arc within him, even though he's not the primary antagonist.
Exactly. Like, should the mystique of Jiren, should it have got as far as it did with Jiren becoming the big bad, just based on mystique alone, just because he is the big one of the group who just sits there not doing anything, staying quiet, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, I wonder what he's going to be like. When Toppo was the main focus, and it should have been, and he even turns into the God of Destruction, and it's such a cool form, like you said. I really, really like the God of Destruction Toppo form. It looks great. All of his attacks are so cool as well, and the fight with Vegeta was excellent. And I feel like it would have made sense for him to have been the main bad guy. They could have kept Jiren as the strong, silent one of the group, and yes, he would have been a handful for a lot of people, but they didn't need to make him as powerful as they did. He could have just been the big, strong one, but also get eliminated, and then make Toppo, when he turns into the God of Destruction, as powerful as Jiren was, and they could have continued the story like that.
Yeah, I was going to suggest something. I've just had that thought there while you're talking, is that they have Jiren and Goku's desperate to fight Jiren because he looks super powerful, and then they fight him and then they barely defeat him.
Yeah.
And then that's when Toppo becomes the God of Destruction. He was
yeah.
like, it was me all along.
Yeah. it would have been an even bigger swerve to think that, okay, Toppo so far, he's been a handful, but he's not the strong. Obviously, they're focusing on Jiren to make him look strong, and it's like, okay, Toppo, he's strong, but we can tell that Jiren's stronger. They beat Jiren, eliminate him, and then Toppo's left, and he transforms, and it's like, oh, now there's a problem.
Yeah.
And that's
like
how
they're
it could have
barely
been.
on their feet. Yeah, they're barely on their feet after Jiren or something like that.
Yeah.
And then this raises up.
Yeah, because it would make sense, because all of the other gods of destruction, all of the angels and stuff, the gods of destruction are like the rulers, you know, they completely rule, and you know, Toppo is one in training, and him just being in the tournament alone, it puts him on level with all the other gods of destruction, and it's like, he should not be in this tournament at that point. He is too strong, but yet they get rid of him, and it's like, he could have been the main bad guy, and I completely agree with this take. I think, replace Jiren with Toppo. Toppo had more story, he was a better character, and it would have made sense.
Yeah. No, I think it's a good take. I think we're actually fully in agreement for this one. It's surprising. I really wasn't expecting you to come with, like, I don't just think it's a good take. I think it's a really good take.
Yeah.
An excellent take. There's a lot of, it's easily justified. But I think a lot of that easy justification comes because of the fact of how poor antagonist Jiren is. If like Jiren was incredibly interesting, then even, but yeah, the fact that Jiren's so poor justifies the reasoning more for making Top the main antagonist. But no, I really like the take. I think it's a good one. I approve.
I also approve. It gets the stamp of approval from both of us. Yeah, I guess it's time to wrap up the podcast. It's been a good one. I really enjoyed it. As always. If you guys if you guys, the audience, the people who are watching or listening to this also enjoyed it, then please like up the video, subscribe down below, check out our socials, and we will see you next time.
See you next time.